The GetRXd RX3 Tornado rack has been a hot topic over the last few months, and it's pretty easy to see why. The main reason being these tornado arms. These are a take on traditional cable trolleys, but rather than simply just moving up and down the uprights, they have the ability to move 180 degrees left to right, plus the ability to do multiple angle adjustments both up and down as well. So it's really versatile, and I'm here to talk about all the possibilities that you can do with arms like these and how I think we're going to start seeing these more and more from other manufacturers just because of how valuable they are. Let's check it out. Hey guys, this is Michael with the Jungle Gym Reviews. I want to show you up close and personal what these tornado arms are, what they have to offer. I've seen a few reviews of this from Garage Gym Reviews, Gluck's Gym, and a few others, and they call out a few specific items I want to address here. Before I get into the video, if you could quickly hit that subscribe button below if you haven't already, it's going to continue to help us grow the channel and make sure you get notified when we post our weekly review videos throughout the rest of 2025. And if you're interested in purchasing this or any other GetRX products after the review, please check out the affiliate link in the description below. All right, so come on over. The tornado arms. Two arms. They have a pop pin system that allows you to go in basically 180 degrees left to right. Not only that, you can go up and down as well. Literally just one pop pin into these pre-selected holes. And then same thing on the up and down adjustments, vertical adjustments. Pull this pop pin out, down, pop pin out, any height of your choosing. The trolley system is also on a pop pin, as you'll see here, with the pretty lightly knurled handle. Pull it out with two fingers while gripping the handle, and it'll slide down. The uprights with ease. Again, sliding down is very simple. Sliding up is what the complaint is from everyone. With UHMW pads on all four sides to protect the rack, it is just these UHMW pads. On the trolley system, there are no rollers. Now, I did want to mention GetRx is actually in the process of prototyping some rollers. I've seen some on the Home Gym Facebook group as well that someone has retrofit to this, which should help with some of the complaints about this system, which is that it's heavy and or awkward to move. I'm going to address that a little more shortly and show you how exactly I have found a way to move them pretty easily, and I don't have any issues, and I will say I am pretty picky about this kind of thing. Brute strength. This is about probably a good like 50 pounds or 60 pounds of force if we're just grabbing it at one spot. The arm's getting torqued up against the uprights in a weird spot. There's no rollers to help distribute the force or make it a little more easy. So, big brain plays, two hands instead of one. If you take another hand and put it somewhere to the side on the arm, now you can kind of leverage that left to right force and really front to back as well and stop it from getting torqued on the rack every time. You go from 50 pounds like, oh my goodness, like this. Take your other hand, put it in another location, and now it's not too bad. It also depends on where the arm is in relation to all this. Sometimes you may find it's easier to grab to the arm from here and here, and down, and down. Now, I will agree, this is not the easiest thing in the world, but after owning many pairs of lever arms and a bunch of other things, definitely not a deal breaker for me. As you'll see here with some footage of my lovely wife, Mrs. The Jungle Gym Reviews, I put her on the spot, had her use this for the first time. It was a little harder for her, understandably so. It's going to take some time, but by the end of it, she definitely got the hang of it. My only complaint about this is I actually wish these had some sort of numbering or something that I could remember which angle it was on. Not too big of an issue. There's only a handful of adjustments, but it would be nice to see somehow which one you were on. As far as the overall like cable feel and how these feel, I mean, very, very, very smooth even at lower weights. This is probably, I would say, one of the top 3 most smooth cable systems that I've owned, as far as especially, you know, eccentric snapback is usually how you can tell like a good cable system from just an okay or obviously a bad one. So in order for me to really get a feel on how well this works and how well these arms works, I've been using this literally for every single movement, for every single workout for the last 3 to 4 months. So I have not found a singular exercise that you cannot do with these arms. And I will even go as far to say I have found better ways to do all of the exercises. These truthfully unlock a whole new level. And that's really because of the different angles and heights and widths, either exterior to interior, you can set these for. Not only can I move this down the rack, but I can exactly dial in, a few degrees up, 5 degrees up, 10 degrees up. I can get the height absolutely perfect up and down. I basically have full control of every increment up and down. And then in and out, if you want to do things like all sorts of chest flies, all of the flies, up, down, left, right, in and out, 360, 180, chest flies, high to low to high, center, on a bench, no bench, on the ground. Rather than a 43-inch pec fly, I'm now doing a 77-inch pec fly. Everything from lat pull downs with a closed grip, lat pull downs with a wide grip. You can change the front to back depth of the pulling point for it to be either directly over your head or a little bit in front of your body. Any angle, any width, any pulling position for lat pull downs. Rear delt reverse flies, you can exactly get the exterior angles to be the exact width that you want to maximize the stretch based on your own biomechanics. Things like these cross body, single arm tricep pull downs. It feels so much better than just a tricep rope, which comes to a centralized position. These fully cross your body, full stretch at the top, full stretch at the bottom, and literally start to give me cramps because of how well it works. Now, because of where the arm attaches as well, I've seen these at gyms that have like a back supported tricep pushdown. You can do something similar here. You could put a little pad behind you. It helps take your core stability out of it a little more so you can just focus on your triceps. Same thing with this cable crunch. It honestly helps me isolate my abs so much because my butt is kind of supported up against the uprights, so I have absolutely no issues there. The chest supported rows, using a bench. You can use it strictly for shrugs, change the width left and right, lying on the ground, lateral raises as long as your floor is clean. And then of course, the Smith machine, which we'll talk about more here. It's a vertical Smith machine with these stopper pegs built to the inside of the rack. So this is how you latch and unlatch to the height of your choosing. The only downside about having these latches on the inside, you'll see, is potentially when you're doing certain exercises, for me, that ends up being pressing. My elbows come very close, if not hitting these during certain movements. And part of that has to do with the fact that I have this storage rack built in, which we'll talk here about in a second. Because of the storage rack, I can only face the bench towards the wall, especially when doing things like military press. My elbow travel is definitely right on these pegs, so I have to be mindful of not flaring my elbows too much. This is the highest point that the Smith machine can be stored. I'm 6'2", and man, that's close. There's no way I would not duck anytime coming through here. I've actually said I wish the Smith machine had one more lock up here. It could be evenly spaced, like at the very top setting, this would be kind of ideal. Right there. The diameter of the Smith bar is 30 millimeters, which feels pretty ideal, not too narrow, not too wide. And the knurling's actually not bad. Obviously, it's passive, it's a Smith bar, but compared to some of the other Smith machine attachments I've had or Smith machines that I've used, especially like the Life Fitness ones when you go to the gym, this definitely at least gives you a little bit. This is probably one of the better Smith machine knurlings that I've had as far as being passive, but still allowing enough grip. The other downside about the Smith machine that Mr. Adrian Gluck called out is the height of it. And it is very apparent to see it is not ideal. So this is the lowest setting it can possibly go, and it is above my knees. Deadlift is out of the question in this current base configuration. RDL's out of the question in current base configuration. You have to get some sort of platform or get creative with a step up, basically to get yourself off the ground, however much this bar needs to come down based on how tall you are and where it needs to be on your legs. For me, I had to wheel over a whole bench in order to get it high enough for me to do RDLs to a proper range of motion. I even tried to do something like a slant stack, which is about 8 inches high, and that allowed me to do things like bent over rows, but was definitely not enough for deadlifts for me and definitely not enough for RDLs for me. As I mentioned, I have been using this for all of my exercises, including the arms and the Smith machine. Definitely things like bent over rows once you have that platform, things like shrugs, Smith bench press, whether it's flat, incline, I really enjoy that, vertical Smith machine shoulder press. And even though these little stopper pegs on the sides tend to hit my elbows here and there, it's not a deal breaker. RDLs, as I mentioned, once you find some sort of platform to step up and stand on. Vertical leg press, that's another movement I really like. As long as you find something like this little pad here, props up your tailbone a bit, kind of puts you in a little bit better biomechanically friendly position. All right, so now that you know a little bit about this Smith machine, the one thing I do want to mention now is GetRx has heard our concerns, has heard the feedback, and is now implementing something to address this low height. So rather than these built-in safety spotters, which work really well and really quickly because they just slide up the guide rod, lock into place, now GetRx is already prototyping and is actually about to release, to my knowledge, a solution, but it's removable. It is no longer attached to the guide rods. Take the current one off, you'll simply just install the new one, but it'll both lock and be mounted onto the pegs rather than be mounted on the guide rods themselves. All right, now moving from the Smith machine to the next part of this rack is the dual 200-pound weight stacks. As you'll see, they have these little band peg attachments on top and bottom. I wish I did not install these because they just get in my way. Some people do like having the option for band pegs. Now the cable ratio is 2:1. As I mentioned again, they are very, very smooth. The entire pulley system, despite all the routing, ins and ups and downs to get to all of the connection points. Now, the other thing I really like about this rack and the GetRx system is their ecosystem. So, you know, they make typical 3x3, 1-inch attachments, J-cups, spotter arms, obviously these Smith machine drop-ins, you name it. But they make things like this as well, which are these storage shelves. 80 through 100-pound dumbbells on here just to show for the sake of the review. You can also store kettlebells, you can store attachments, you can change the angle of the shelves to be flat, but it's nice to have this all built in, integrated into the rack. I think that's one thing up until recently, companies like Titan, companies like Rep, they haven't had these good storage options. I could have 2 more shelves and pretty much have a set of 5 through 75-pound dumbbells on here. I can have the shelves and a full selection of plate storage with no issues. Now this version is the RX3 Tornado Smith machine rack. The full entire height of this is 94 inches. It is 48 inches wide as well and 48 inches front to back. Obviously my dumbbell storage and plate storage adds a little bit more because I have to space it out from the wall. For this version, the current price is $3,967. As I mentioned though, this is the full size option for this, full size height, full size front to back depth. It obviously includes the Smith machine as well. Now they do have a couple other different versions of their RX3 rack. Shorter, you can do narrower, you can do with or without the Smith machine. They have a lot of options to customize it based on your space, your needs, your training. So overall, I think this is a great option for anyone looking for a one-stop shop for, I don't need to upgrade my rack again for many, many years. Having this all in this footprint, if I had to have one thing, it would definitely be something like this. As it stands right now, this rack is probably the gold standard of what all-in-one racks can be. This is already at the top or next level of both quality, especially when it comes to things like the cable travel, functionality, when especially we're talking about the Tornado arms, because other racks have Smith machines, other racks have power rack functional trainers, but one of the few racks right now that has these multi-angle adjustable arms. Literally almost every workout, I find different ways that I can use these creatively, whether it's in and out, up and down, exact planes, paths of motion. I just love these arms. I love the idea. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The all-in-one racks are really the next wave of things. People want all-in-one functionality, and not only do they want cables, but they want more things that simulate machines. With GetRx's new line of attachments, although I haven't tried them, I'm really looking forward to the added functionality and versatility they offer. What they're going to have are attachments that basically put some sort of center mounting post, low rows to have your knees supported with lat pull downs. You can attach chest support, pad attachment, a lat seat that also converts into this little military bench style utility seat that all mounts to the racks and the uprights and the center posts. If you do follow me on Instagram at The Jungle Gym Reviews, you will see some videos over the coming months once I get those in, start putting them to use in my training. So guys, that's it for this review of the GetRx Tornado Rack. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I'll be happy to answer or at least try. Thanks for tuning in to the Jungle Gym Reviews. We'll see you next time. Take it easy. Peace.